What is up, everyone? This is the Quantum Anomaly coming at you with another episode of WIP-Lash. This is build log 8 on the Razorthorn, and I've done a lot of work, and it hasn't amounted to a whole lot. So, this is what we got going on. This was the end of the last episode, episode 7, and this is where I kind of stopped working on this part of the Razorthorn. And after a brief discussion with Alabaster Jazz, which got deleted because I had to re-upload that video because it had some crazy artifacting going on in it, I decided to I wasn't really enjoying the way the the elliptical tool, and my crazy fast wedging skills ended up here, and I didn't really like what was going on with this kind of command center area. It was taking a lot to try to like shape it out, and it didn't really fit in with the form of the rest of the ship. It also didn't really fit in with the um, kind of the way that the older style ships, like the Beryllium that I did in this style, pardon my mic there, it didn't fit in with those forms either, and I was trying to kind of evolve on it and make it a little bit different and see if I could try kind of establishing a new base form, and it's been bugging me since I made it, and so I decided to work on it. So the first thing I did was I came over here, and I started making template. These are they're not actually, but they're, let's see, uh, cubed octahedrons? No, truncated cubed octahedrons. There we go. They're not quite proper because, some of the lines are wider in some areas than other. I was just messing around, various sizes, all the way down to radius 3 here, which I have marked, a tiny little display. And I was doing them radius by 1, including an alternate for 7, because I was just, trying different shapes, seeing what I liked, what I didn't like about each variation as I went through it. And then when I got over here, I started doing it by 2, because I got to 12. So I did 12, 14, and 16. And I thought, surely, if I make all of these, then I can kind of like copy and paste them together to get some kind of elliptical shape, right? And that'll be cool. And then it'll look really nice, and it'll already be wedged, and it'll be really easy to do, and hoorah. Well, by the time I got to, 12, 14, 16, I was wanting to get up to 30 because that's the radius of the width of the ellipse. And I was like, man, that's going to take forever. Did I actually smush back into the back of that other one there? Heh, I never noticed that. I did. Maybe. Might be right up against it. Or, nope, I think I'm smushed into it. Yep. So that's something to keep in mind too, is keep your distance when doing something like this. Oi, didn't need to see that after the day that I've had. So yeah, we'll go over here, and you can see it from a distance here. I've got this kind of pill shape. And this was just me experimenting. Like I said, I got to 16, and was like, need to take a break. Came back, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it on the ship. I'll just build it as I go. And so I admin loaded a new template of the ship in, and started with the front here, which is like a 20, and then a 30 in the back, and just started building away on that. And I don't know, I hate this one too. I could probably use to do a few more step downs, and maybe that might make it look better. I don't know. But there is some good news here, which is that I saved this one as a template because it has fewer parts and more straight lines and is easier to use a remove mode on. And came over here, and this and those spheres is like the entire day's worth of work off and on. I don't even want to know how many hours. This is a framework that I just like slapped on in like 10 minutes, just kind of haphazardly and randomly. And even though it's like not even where I want my framework to be, already I like it a lot more than the pill or elliptical shape. The front of it here matches kind of the front look here. So we've got some like similarity of form, and it still functions. And it also has kind of a breakup of shape where it expands and gets wider and then has a little bit faster slope and drop off at the end. So it's not purely symmetrical. So thus far, I like this one the best of the three. I do have a soft spot. If I could get that ellipse to look right just when it's up close and be perfect all the time, then I would probably use it because I kind of like having that like one or two smooth forms mixed in with a more blocky shape. I don't know. But I think this overall is going to end up looking a lot better. And of course, I'm probably going to delete everything that's underneath here now in this support structure area and redo that as well and match the shape and the feel of this ship with a lot of 45-degree angles and just kind of copy and paste that, ideology, I guess. Not so much direct copy and paste of shapes, but get the general feel of this portion to match kind of the rest of this portion of the ship. So that's something that, yeah, that's been most of the work. I do have over here, flying through the wall again, these tubes started to bug me. And also the fact that this ship, other than its turrets, doesn't have any main guns. And additionally, the main power lines of the ship run straight through that hallway so far. So, pardon me flying through walls all over the place and doing it again. All right. Oh my God, really? Okay. Let's go underneath there. Now. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, these are going to be a couple of main battle cannons for the turret, or not for the turret, for the ship. That way, no matter what pods I put in there, I will have some primary offense capability on the ship, no matter what else I dock to it. Of course, these are just very flat right now, very two-dimensional, kind of roughing out where I want them to be and how I want them to look before I start expanding on that too much. I do want to kind of cover this tube area, but not too much. And I do also have a little bit of an asymmetrical, back end cartridge to it on this side, just to eat up some space over there without, making it too weird looking. So I don't want everything to be right in the middle of everything else. It ends up looking boring. I also finished capping off the ends here. I don't know if I showed that in the last episode. I'm not sure if it was done by then, but I did do that. Other than that, I did find one of the pieces of my lighting that I think was bugged, which was the specular ray tracing, I think. Or no, because yeah, I upped my ray tracing steps and turned on like the speculative bump maps, and that just made things look pretty horrible. But when I turned off some of that, it started looking a lot better. So yeah, going up through the cannons there. Got those cannons lifted up so I can be out of the way. I do, however, like how far back I can get from this ship and still have a pretty sweet view of depth in the engines. I noticed that when I was admin loading them in, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. So thank you to Alabaster Jazz for your critiques, partially because I totally agree with you, and because I got to razz you for enticing me to spend an entire day wedging spheres or truncated cuboctahedron. I had to look it up, and it's something new that I learned today. So I was trying to figure out what the name of that shape is. I mean, I do like this. I like the sphere. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm going to use the sphere in some of my other builds, and maybe bring it back to that form some. I don't know. But that pill shape just kills me. And I was thinking about, like, I can't do just a sphere up there. It would look like, like a control tower on a Star Destroyer or something, and I didn't want that either. So I think this should be a happy medium. I may even round the back of it, and follow the ellipse tool like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm, recording this now because I was just done working on it. I was, by the time when you spend 10 minutes to do something that you've spent like 4 hours working on, and even though it's like, yay, I finally got it, but you're like, man, I did that in 10 minutes and I've been working all day. It doesn't matter. I've done this on a zillion projects. You tackle it from the same angle over and over, like just bound and determined that it's going to work that way. And maybe it's just me and I'm hard-headed, but I was bound and determined that it was going to work that way, and when I tried to implement it, it definitely was not working that way. I didn't spend too terribly long doing that, mostly because all the practice that I had doing those means that I can make one of these, truncated cube octahedrons pretty quickly, and make them a little bit. The square piece is supposed to make, there's supposed to be like a 6-sided piece and the 8-sided piece there, and they're supposed to have basically the same, the rectangular portion is supposed to be the same width as it is, like width and height, so it's actually square. This one you can see is kind of a rectangle, and that square is supposed to be the length of all of the sides of everything. So I didn't know that until I went and researched it. I basically just freehanded all of these. I did use the circle tool, but I didn't use the ellipsal, like do a sphere tool type thing. I did it just with 3 circles and a lot of symmetry lines, and then just wedging and trying to figure out, how to make it look. I do kind of like this off 7-sided sphere. That would go good in like a fusion core. I think that's got, especially if you copied this extended bit and put it on this flat side here, so it has like some kind of a bumpy bit out of every side. I think that would look really cool, even though the lines in between are really thin. I think this is actually technically a truncated cube when it's done like this. So, anywho, these should be useful at some point. I'll be able to maybe copy and paste them. Maybe they'll just sit out here on a giant station. So there they are, 3 of the Razorthorns, absolutely chunking out my my PC at the moment. Not like totally, I'm not losing too many frames, but my frame rate is dropping a little bit. So I'll be deleting the 2 older ones, I believe, and going with this newer version. I'm not the biggest fan of it being all blocky up top. I may try to work on that some, but it fits the design, it fits the style better. Do it for the sake of art. So, and because that wedging just bugs me. It would be awesome if I could make it like super smooth, but I'm not in a 3D design graphics program right now. So if I want smooth, I'll use 3ds Max. If I want blocky and something that I can fly around and go pew 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 and kill pirates with, then I'll play Starmade, because that's what it's all about. Anywho, to everybody out there, thank you once again for my new subscribers. I actually just checked out my subscribers area and noticed that a few of you have subscribed fairly recently. So I appreciate that. I know a lot of old subscribers came in for the survival series that I did, and I will be doing another survival series soon, but I am waiting to see what the next couple of content releases for the next month look like. And because I'm pretty sure I would put money on, oh, that's not spinning. I'd put money on the Shattered Skies server doing a server wipe, probably about the time Fauna comes out, which I'm gonna place a bet and say, maybe 3 more weeks, because it's usually like a 2-week release cycle. So we just had cargo last Friday, so this Friday is going to be an off cycle. Next Friday is probably going to be cargo adjustments, maybe a couple of small, additions, and mostly balance tweaks, maybe some balance tweaks to power and cargo. And then another off week, and I'm going to bet the week after that we might see the first bits of Fauna come in. I could be totally wrong, because Schema has been known to just randomly drop crazy content updates on us with little to no warning that end up being ridiculously cool. So I'm excited to see what happens there. If you have any other critiques or comments, please leave a comment in the below, and like and subscribe to my video, and we can talk about it, because I respond to my comments pretty quickly and fairly frequently, and I have no problem with taking you guys' input and spending ridiculous amounts of time making all sorts of shapes that end up being relatively useless, only to end up with something that looks pretty awesome at the very end. And as long as it's awesome in the end, then I guess that's what matters. So thank you again to everybody that's watching, and for all you viewers out there, keep building.